All right, so there's probably quite a bit of stuff that I've done to this 425 since I last took a video, kept forgetting the camera and everything. So, engine's out, I've taken the dash cluster out, I've taken pretty much all of the hydraulics part, all the components are still in there. But I'll just kind of go through that. I've taken the drive shaft out and the isolator off of the drive shaft right there. It's just a, I think, 15 or 13 millimeter bolt. That actually took a little bit more doing than I anticipated. One really handy thing, and I haven't really talked about it much, and maybe a lot of people already know this, you can get these brass hammers. I got this at the local farm store for like 20 bucks. Brass hammers are incredibly useful when it comes to, say, beating off drive shaft, stuff like that, because you can tap it, and since the brass is going to be softer than the steel or the iron, the brass is going to take the punishment, not what you're hammered on. So you can actually see how, boy, this thing does not want to focus. You can see how the end of that is all splayed out right there. So you can see that. So anyway, what I've done, in addition to taking the drive shaft off, is I've gone ahead and I've disconnected the hydraulic lines, both the main and the both the hydraulic lines that come in and out of the pump. And then at the same time, I've gone ahead and disconnected the lines that go to the hydraulic valve, and I'm actually in the process of working on taking off the valve assembly. So in the process of taking out these valves, you've got four. The diverter valve was right here, but you've got four total connections that you have to make. And 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 are back here. So these two go to the top two valves, and these two go to the bottom two valves. But anyway, to get the actual assembly out, there's three 13 millimeter bolts. You'll also have to disconnect the levers. That's just it's basically just a chain link in there, and so you just pop the links out. Pretty easy. This is the last thing I did before I kind of stopped for the week. This was, I guess, video time. It'd be like a week and a half ago. Anyway, that was the last thing I did, and hopefully sitting here, I put some penetrant on it before I left. Hopefully that will, those chain links will come out when I'm ready to take the valve assembly out. Other than that, haven't done all that much to it. I need to go ahead and the next big thing I need to do after I get the hydraulic valve off is I need to take the steering cylinder off up front, and I need to take the lift cylinder off in the rear of the tractor. And then after that, I'll take the steering column out, and then after the steering column, I'll take the transaxle out. So that's actually pretty reasonable to do, to take the transaxle out. I will leave the tires on for right now. I don't intend to take them off at the moment. And then I'll go ahead and take the front axle off the front tires. And then the last thing I'll do is probably one of the last things I'll do is I'll flip it over and take the dash cluster or the dash tower off. And that'll pretty much be it for this 425. And then after I get done with that, I don't know how many videos that'll take, probably 1 or 2 more. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take and we're going to break down the transaxle just to kind of show you components. So one of the things, I recently bought a 318, it's not here yet, but one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rear end out of that 318 and I'm going to directly compare it to the K91 in this 425. That way, because a lot of guys or a lot of folks think that because it's a newer machine, it's not built as heavy. I've taken one of these K91s apart before. It's just as impressive in there as the Sunstrand 15U pump that's in the 318. After we get done tearing the transaxle apart, or sometime maybe before, we're going to go ahead and tear into the engine. Now I've already removed some of the components from the engine, namely the carburetor and I think the igniter and a couple other parts, electronic parts that somebody had requested. But yeah, so we'll eventually get there. I don't know if this is at all helpful, so you can see how a 4-5 series is put together. Obviously, if it's a 455, it's going to have a diesel engine in it, and 445, it's going to have a more powerful gas engine that's fuel injected. If it's 425, it's just going to be carbureted. So anyway, that's it. I'll keep working on this, and I'll probably start piecing together some videos for you. I don't know where this one will fall. I'm trying to keep them in the 7 to 9 minute range. So anyway, there you go. I did want to make one quick comment about the engine. Like I said, I've already taken some components off, namely the carburetor up here, also the igniter that was located down there. But the next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and we'll pull all the electronics off. That's how I'll start with the engine, and then eventually we'll just pull it. We'll pull it completely apart, and I'll just do that on camera. So it might actually take 3 or 4 videos. And the reason I'm going to do that is that way you can see how it comes apart. If you have a question about it, or you want to rebuild one of these Kawasaki's, you know, that'll at least get you a starting place. I don't intend to rebuild this machine or this engine. It's mostly going to parts, so you know, I don't intend to do that. But you know, if you want to know how one takes apart or comes apart, it's going to be reassembled the same order. So there's that, and that's the engine we'll start working on. That'll probably be a couple weeks before I get to that, or before before we get to taking it apart, or before I put it up on YouTube. So there you go.